From a prehistoric beast to a monster with a human face, and even a weird fish pulled from a lake that looked like a cow. Here are 10 of the craziest fish ever caught. Hook, line, and sinker. 10. Prehistoric beast. On an Alabama beach in 2021, fishing guide David A. Rose pulled something extraordinary out of the water and nobody could figure out what the heck it was. The angler was shocked and confused, thinking he had somehow hooked some kind of bizarre shark on the end of his line. It had taken him nearly 40 minutes to rip the fish out of the water, and it looked like some sort of prehistoric beast from the past. He thought maybe it was a shark, but as David found out later, he had actually caught a Gulf sturgeon. These are some very rare fish and not often found lurking in the Gulf of Mexico. Before catching the Gulf sturgeon, David also caught a Gulf kingfish, a couple of stingrays, a catfish, a pufferfish, and even a crab. He was quite an experienced fisherman. He hooked the sturgeon using dead shrimp for bait. It was over 6 feet or 2 meters long and weighed around 130 pounds or 60 kilos, making it about half the size of what they can really grow to be. These fish have been around since the dinosaurs and can be up to an astounding 14 feet or 4.2 meters long. The main part of their internal skeleton is made of cartilage, very similar to a shark. But unlike a shark, their outer body is covered in bony, armor-like plates for defense. After taking a few pictures with the prehistoric monster, David threw it back in the ocean. After all, these are federally protected animals and are not allowed to be killed. Thanks, David. Number 9. The Burbot. In Lake Erie, there is a very bizarre sea creature known as the Burbot. Almost nobody has seen it, even fewer people have caught it, and most people don't even know it's there. But it is. The Burbot is a giant eel-like fish that hangs out at the bottom of the lake and is the only member of the cod family that lives in freshwater. According to Mike Durkalic, an aquatic biologist with Cleveland Metro Parks, the Burbot is a weird and secretive fish, and not many people have what it takes to catch them. In December, Durkalic caught 2 of these elusive fish in gill nets, but not just because he could. He caught them to add implants to the fish with transmitters and then release them back into the wild, allowing scientists to learn a bit more about their behavior. Lake Erie in the 50s and 60s used to be bursting with these Burbot, but then came industrial pollution and the invasion of the deadly sea lamprey, which feed on the native Ohio fish. Today, there aren't very many Burbot left, making them a very slippery catch. 8. Ice fishing monster. Nicholas Colangelo was out ice fishing in Pennsylvania with his friends. They were expecting to catch a few little fish and just to have a good time out on the ice. The trip they'd taken previously had been quite successful. Nicholas had caught a huge musky fish from under the ice and was hoping to net another one this time. Instead, Nicholas caught something rather unusual. It wasn't a fish, and it definitely didn't belong under the ice. What was this mysterious creature? It was a duck. Specifically, it was a very rough-looking merganser duck that probably shouldn't have been under the ice at all. These ducks can dive for short periods of time, sure, but they definitely can't dive for the whole winter. These ducks usually migrate south to rivers that don't have any ice in them. This one must have gotten stuck as the ice was forming over the lake. Then it spent the last few weeks trying desperately to get out. Nicholas may have not caught himself a giant fish, but at least he gifted the duck its freedom. 7. The Dolphinfish. Nobody is really sure where the dolphinfish gets its name. Some say it's because the dolphinfish swims frequently with dolphins out in the ocean. Some say it's simply because they act like dolphins by jumping out of the water playfully. But the dolphinfish also goes by another name too, the mahi-mahi. The name mahi-mahi literally means strong in Polynesian, and the name originates from Hawaii, where the fish are frequently caught. These fish are some of the most fascinating to catch as they're large, colorful, and honestly just strange to look at. Dolphinfish usually have a bright golden hue on their sides and then a bright green or blue color on their heads. What's really interesting is that as they start to die, the color fades and they become dull yellow. Even though mahi-mahi can grow to be over 6 feet or 2 meters in length, they actually start life as microscopic larvae hiding in seaweed. Because of this very smart breeding behavior, dolphinfish reproduce like crazy. It's highly unlikely the species will ever become endangered, even though they are so popular with fishermen. But just because they are often caught doesn't make it easy. Like I said, their name means strong, and it takes a lot of effort just to reel one in. Have you ever fished for dolphinfish, aka mahi-mahi? Let us know your experience in the comments section down below. And if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. 6. Monster catfish. In Po Delta of Italy, a fisherman made the catch of a lifetime when he hooked a giant catfish that looked like some kind of monster from the never-ending story. The fisherman's name was Dino Ferrari, and he caught a potential world record-shattering Wells catfish that weighed over 280 pounds or 127 kilos. It was also nearly 9 feet long or 3 meters, making it a true monster of a catfish. What's really incredible is that according to the Seattle Times, the current record for a Wells catfish is slightly above an incredible 300 pounds or 136 kilos. Still, Dino's fish could be the largest ever caught only using a sport fishing rod and reel, which really is in a category of its own. After taking pictures of him holding his catch, the Italian fisherman released it back into the water where it quickly swam away. The giant Wells catfish got to live another day, most likely terrorizing all the other fish that are much smaller than it. 5. Pink alien fish. In Mexico, a strange creature was pulled out of the water and mistaken for an April Fool's joke. The creature looked kind of like a fish, but also a little like a shark. It was discovered swollen, pink, and a little burnt. The fish was caught by the captain of a tourist fishing boat in Cabo named Jaime Rendon. The weird catch was made on the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula. After the catch, Jaime posted the pictures online, not really sure what the thing was. But just because it so happened to be the 1st of April, everyone thought it was just a big joke. Nobody took the creature seriously, thinking Jaime must have just made the thing up using Photoshop, just to trick everyone. But then someone came forward to identify the animal. According to fish experts, it was actually a very real fish, something known as a swell shark, a very small and rather evasive shark found throughout the Pacific Ocean. It's significantly smaller than most sharks you may be familiar with, but it does have a pretty interesting defense mechanism. When it needs to evade a larger predator, it fills its belly with water to look bigger. It also inflates itself with air when close to the surface, looking more like an inflatable pool toy than a real animal. Usually, these sharks are quite shy with divers and pretty harmless unless aggressively provoked. They tend to avoid humans. Most swell sharks are a soft yellow-brown color. The reason this shark was so pale and sunburnt is probably because it had albinism, lacking any kind of pigmentation and making it pale as a ghost, and indeed, a very crazy catch. 4. Fish with a face. Recently in 2020, a fisherman in Thailand caught one of the ugliest fish in existence. He found a fish with a strange yellow body, weird white dots all over it, and a face just like that of a human, only way creepier. The fisherman caught the bizarre creature in his crab trap and almost threw it back in the water because it was so hideous and he was so shocked. He didn't know what to do with the weird catch, so he handed it over to wildlife officials because he was worried that such a disturbing fish would give him bad luck in the future. Now, it's believed the fish was a type of stargazer called Ichthyoscopus polycharis. Stargazers live at the bottom of a particular body of water, hidden underneath the sand with nothing but their eyes and mouth poking out, waiting for some unfortunate victim to swim directly over them. Their name stargazer is a little confusing because they don't actually gaze at the stars at all. They hide in the shallow waters of the Mediterranean as well as the Atlantic Ocean. The stargazer is what you would call an ambush predator, and they are very good at it. The only time their skills are lacking is when they accidentally bite onto a fisherman's hook. Not a good day for the stargazer. 3. Translucent blob. A translucent blob was captured off the coast of New Zealand and nobody could figure out if it was a plastic bag, a weird fish, or a transparent shrimp. Stuart Fraser was out fishing with his 2 sons when he spotted the strange animal floating at the top of the water and scooped it into their boat. According to Stuart, the blob felt scaly and firm in his hands, kind of like jelly, but there was nothing inside of it except for a weird orange blob that may have been one of its internal organs. Stuart had never seen anything like it before, and neither had his sons. After looking for help online, some fish experts suggested that the mysterious creature could actually be a Salpa majora, a type of fish found only in cold seas and mostly in the Southern Ocean. They can grow to be about 10 inches or 25 centimeters. They sort of look like baby jellyfish, but the two are not related, as Salpa majora are completely harmless, unlike jellyfish, and they're sometimes deadly stingers. The fish has a gelatinous body and only moves thanks to a special system of pumping water through its body. It literally contracts itself like a beating heart to slowly propel itself through the water. Other than that, we don't know too much about the fish. It eats plankton and is very rare, with hardly any sightings of the thing in the wild. 2. The Blackfish. In Connecticut, a man named Tim captured a record-breaking blackfish. It happened on October 14th while Tim was out on Captain Bob Wadworth's boat. They had gone out to Two Tree Island in Niantic Bay when Tim suddenly hooked something he felt was huge. Tim had to put his reel into free spool and fight extremely hard to work the fish away from the treacherous bottom. According to Captain Bob, he's pretty used to hearing excited fishermen on his boat, but today was something a little different. From all the commotion, he knew Tim had hooked an amazing catch, but he couldn't quite anticipate turning around to see Tim holding a monster blackfish. It turned out later to be a type of tautog, and it was so huge that it weighed in at 26.6 pounds or 12 kilos, and it was later certified as beating the Connecticut state record by almost 3 full pounds or 1.3 kilos. That makes it one of the biggest tautog blackfish ever and just shy of 2 pounds or 0.9 kilos lighter than the all-time world record. Number 1. Cowfish. A fisherman in Oklahoma made a rather bizarre catch at Lake Eufaula. Austin Claunch captured a fish that looked an awful lot like a cow you'd see on a farm. Well, the coloring and pattern did anyway. The fish had a white belly and the black and white markings of an ordinary dairy cow on its back. It was such a weird thing to find that Austin posted the pictures online to see if anyone could give him a bit more information. Without getting much luck, he finally sent the picture to the Oklahoma Wildlife Department, who replied that the fish wasn't a new species or an aquatic cow. Instead, the fish was suffering from leucism, meaning it had partial pigment loss. It was basically halfway to being an albino, which explains why it was so pale and why it had a pink fin. The good news is that a lack of pigment doesn't actually affect a fish's health in any way, and it doesn't affect the way a fish tastes either. Thanks so much for watching. Have you heard of any of these fish before? What's the craziest fish you've ever caught? Let me know about it in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. See you next time. Bye.